wanted to take control of a nation that is looking out and saying, what is happening here? Why is the 1% getting wealthier and wealthier? And why is nobody really doing anything about the environment? Why are so many bad things happening? And you have a majority of people who agree, and yet you want to rule them contrary to those sentiments. You got to come up, you got to pull out all the stops. You got to have gerrymandering. You got to have voter suppression. You got to make those Vote Wednesday robocalls. You got to flood the system with all sorts of dark money and corporate cash. And then, if you're lucky, you've brought things within what I call stuffed nose smell test rigging distance. It can pass the stuffed nose smell test when we get these shocking results. They're not quite so shocking because you've already narrowed the gap with all these other overt techniques and schemes. And then you just add another 7% or so on those memory cards. How would you do it? Okay, very simple. You have a memory card. There are 500,000 lines or so of code on a memory card that goes into a DRE, that goes into an optical scanner. And that memory card is set up with about 500,000 lines of code. You add 3 lines of code, you interpolate them somewhere in this mishmash of routines and subroutines and whatnot that basically reset the 0 counters on the memory card. So what are 0 counters? Anybody know what a 0 counter is? Okay, some do, most don't. You know, it's not the kind of thing you spend a lot of time on in daily life. So when you're counting ballots by hand, observably, in public, I got a stack of ballots here, and Mark and Bob are running for election, and this is Mark's first ballot. And this is Bob's first ballot, and this is Bob's second ballot. He wins, okay. The table is 0, where there aren't any ballots. And this is number 1, pretty simple. But in a computer, there is no such thing as 0. There's just a line stretching from negative infinity to positive infinity. Natural numbers, real numbers, imaginary numbers, complex numbers. That's the way a computer works. So you can start at anything. So you take Mark, who I want to defeat, and you set his 0 counter to negative 100. And I take Bob, who's given me a little under the table and I want to win, and set his to positive 100. Negative 100, positive 100. Okay, people vote. Mark's first ballot is negative 99. Bob's first ballot is 101, positive 101. End of the day, let's say they each get 500 actual votes. Mark has 400, Bob has 600. 1,000 votes, 1,000 voters came in. The election administrator looks, says, yeah, it matches the poll tape, certified. You just stole 200 votes on that machine. And that memory card can be duplicated at will. This is child's play. A 6th grader could do this. If you want to do it in self-deleting code and make it a little harder to find, okay. Maybe it would take an 8th grader. But here's the thing, you don't have to do that because nobody ever gets to look at a memory card. Ever. We have an election commissioner here, Virginia Martin, which I just want to say a few words about Virginia and salute her. But she doesn't get to look at memory cards. Nobody does. We certainly don't. So you could just be a 6th grader. You don't even have to use self-deleting code. It's that easy. Now, the forensics, which you'll see in Code Red, show that there's some results of this being so easy.